Victoria and David Beckham's son, Brooklyn Beckham, is calling out his family after many rumors of a rift in the family. You're not going to believe some of the details that he's exposing on his own social media.
Here we go now.
Welcome back to the Kempire channel, your number one source for pop culture news and music, entertainment, reality TV, and so much more. As always, be sure to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and hit that notification bell so you never miss out on breaking news when we go live or when we upload. Guys, don't forget the Kempire After Dark live show returns to New York City on Friday, March 13th at the Green Room 42. There are meet and greet tickets available, but if you're not able to come to the show or you live in another state or another country, you can watch it via the live stream. Ticket information will be available in the description. So I've been following this whole rift between David Beckham, Victoria Beckham, and their child, Brooklyn Beckham, for a while. Never reported on it, just sort of watched the different stories out there. But for the most part, they've never really spoken about this rift. I think you could just sort of see it, that there was some sort of rift. And it's a rift between Brooklyn and his wife and Brooklyn's family, who are, of course, very famous. So now, while we were live recapping some other mess, apparently Brooklyn took to his social media and laid it all out. So we're going to read through this together because it's kind of long. So in the first post, Brooklyn says, "I have been silent for years and made every effort to keep this matter private. Unfortunately, my parents and their team have continued to go to the press, leaving me with no choice but to speak for myself and tell the truth about only some of the lies that have been printed." So this is just a reminder to those of you that think these celebrities aren't using PR campaigns to paint certain narratives. He says, "I do not want to reconcile with my family." He says, "I'm not being controlled. I'm standing up for myself for the first time in my life." He says, "For my entire life, my parents have controlled narratives in the press about our family." Oh, it's the year of truth. "The performative social media posts, family events, and inauthentic relationships have been a fixture of the life I was born into. Recently, I've seen with my own eyes the lengths that they'll go through to place countless lies in the media, mostly at the expense of innocent people, to preserve their own facade. But I believe the truth always comes out." He says, "My parents have been trying to endlessly ruin my relationship," his marriage, he's married, "since before my wedding, and it hasn't stopped. My mom canceled my making Nicola's dress in the 11th hour despite how excited she was to wear her design, forcing her to urgently find a new dress. Weeks before our big day, my parents repeatedly pressured and attempted to bribe me into signing away rights to my name." Oh my goodness. "Which would have affected me, my wife, and our future children. They were adamant on me signing before my wedding date because then the terms of the deal would be initiated. My holdout affected the payday, and they have never treated me the same since." Woo. "During the wedding planning, my mom went so far as to call me evil because Nicola and I chose to include my nanny Sandra and Nicola's nanny at our table because they both didn't have their husbands. Both of our parents had their own tables equally adjacent to ours." Damn, he's telling it all. Brooklyn continues. He says, "The night before our wedding, members of my family told me that Nicola was not blood and not family. Since the moment I started standing up for myself with my family, I've received endless attacks from my parents, both privately and publicly, that were sent to the press on their orders." So a lot of the rumors that we've been seeing about the rift in the family, he's saying that's not coming from him. This is coming from his parents, trying to paint themselves to look like we're the doting parents. This woman came into our lives and ruined our family. Look, that could be true. But he's saying out of his own mouth, or because I'm saying that we don't know if it's out of his own mouth. For all we know, his wife could have wrote this. I don't know. I'm twerking on a fence. He says, "The night before our wedding, members of the family told me that Nicola was, quote, not blood and, quote, not family. Since the moment I started standing up for myself with my family, I received endless attacks from my parents, both privately and publicly, that were sent to the press on their orders. Even my brothers were sent to attack me on social media before they ultimately blocked me out of nowhere this last summer. Oh, that's sad. My mom hijacked my first dance with my wife, which had been planned weeks in advance, to a romantic love song. In front of our 500 wedding guests, Mark Anthony called me to the stage, wherein the schedule was planned to be my romantic dance with my wife, but instead my mom was waiting to dance with me instead. Oh my gosh. She danced very inappropriately on me in front of everyone.
Hell no.
I've never felt more uncomfortable or humiliated in my entire life. We wanted to renew our vows so that we could create new memories of our wedding day that bring us joy and happiness, not anxiety and embarrassment. And here's the thing. We were just talking about Iyanla Vanzant breaking generational curses and stop following traditions and not being around toxic family. This is what this sounds like. It sounds like he's trying to break whatever they're trying to create. And his siblings probably fall in line because their lifestyles are dependent on their parents. More so, their lifestyles are dependent on David Beckham, because we know those rumors of how David Beckham basically funded her failed fashion house, allegedly. That's what the rumors were on the streets. So he continues. Brooklyn says, my wife has been consistently disrespected by my family, no matter how hard we've tried to come together as one. My mom has repeatedly invited women from my past into our lives in ways that were clearly intended to make us both uncomfortable. This sounds like a movie. Despite this, we still traveled to London for my dad's birthday and were rejected for a week as we waited in our hotel room trying to plan quality time with him. He refused all of our attempts unless it was at his big birthday party with 100 guests and cameras at every corner to dispel the rumors. When he finally agreed to see me, it was under the condition that Nicola wasn't invited. It was a slap in the face. Later, when my family traveled to LA, they refused to see me at all. I feel so bad for Brooklyn. My family values public promotion and endorsements above all else. Brand Beckham comes first. Family love is decided by how much you post on social media or how quickly you drop everything to show up and pose for a family photo op, even if it's at the expense of our professional obligations. We've gone out of our way for years to show up and support at every fashion show, every party, and every press activity to show, quote, our perfect family. But the one time my wife asked for my mom's support to save displaced dogs during the LA fires, my mom refused. Really? Wow. So he ends this post on his social media saying, the narrative that my wife controls me is completely backwards. I have been controlled by my parents for most of my life. I grew up with overwhelming anxiety. For the first time in my life since stepping away from my family, that anxiety has disappeared. So many people can relate to this. He continued, he said, I wake up every morning grateful for the life I chose and have found peace and relief. My wife and I do not want a life shaped by image, press, or manipulation. All we want is peace, privacy, and happiness for us and our future family. For me, this is such an alignment because so many of you have been reacting to the video that I posted about Iyanla Vanzant talking about not going to her daughter's funeral because of the issue she was having with her grandson.
I saw you just sit down with Oprah and you talked about your decision not to go to your daughter's funeral.
Yeah.
You kind of put up your boundaries just because of some of the things that was happening within your family.
Well,
with
not
her
in
son?
the family, with one particular grandson, her youngest son, who was just out of his mind. And I know it was grief, but I wasn't going to put myself in jeopardy. I wasn't going to give him the opportunity to disrespect his mother by disrespecting her mother. Mm. And I didn't know what he might do. But I was a trigger for him. I knew I was a trigger for him. And I had to tell the truth about that.
How difficult was that for you?
Well, once I made the decision, because I made it from a place of love and care, I was okay with it. So I didn't have to go to the funeral. I went the day before. Mm. And I had my own thing with her.
Right.
She was still going to be dead the next day. I didn't have to be there. You understand? The things that we do out of tradition, out of habit, that we don't even want to do.
Yeah.
I'm not doing that. I'm too old.
And a lot of you said, you know what? I can so relate to this about protecting your peace and doing things for family out of obligation, doing things for toxic family out of obligation. And that, based on what Brooklyn Beckham is explaining in these posts, sounds as if is what he was going through. And the minute he stopped doing that, he found his own peace. Brooklyn, protect your peace, brother. Protect your peace. And look, and this is one of the times where I feel like, yes, there have been rumors about a rift in the family, the Beckham family, but now Brooklyn Beckham is taking to his own social media and clearing it up. Brooklyn, may this be the last time you even have to talk about it. I'm not saying you shouldn't maybe keep the door cracked open, maybe for a possible reconciliation, especially with your siblings. But especially because your siblings being younger than you might need to know that the door is open if they decide to separate themselves from a toxic family situation. Guys, as always, I love to hear your thoughts and opinions on topics like this because you guys had a lot to say when we posted about that Iyanla Vanzant story. As always, let's continue the conversation in the comment section. Don't forget the Kempire After Dark live show returns to New York City on March 13th at the Green Room 42. Get your tickets today if you haven't already. There's also a live stream option as well. Ticket information will be available in the description. As always, thanks so much for listening and for watching.
Here we go now.